Greetings, fellow adventurers. We're here for another Hornmaster episode of A Tale of Two Daughters, and I'm your friendly Dungeon Master, Devin, and here we have, or Game Master in this instance. Let's go ahead and introduce our players by name as well as their characters, and if you could tell us just a few things about them. I know that if people are our loyal listeners probably know this by now, but just to introduce, remind people since it's been a few weeks. So Dave, let's start with you.
My name is David. I'm playing Zyrsin of Armis. Zyrsin is a human Jamorvi. What's the term for not the master? Not the.
He's a journeyman. Yeah.
Yeah, journeyman. Yeah, there we go. I was just trying to get the in-character term. I'm sorry. Journeyman Jamorvi spellcaster. He's relatively new. He is currently learning the ways of the Uthmarili and has recently learned the Frivia school as well.
And those are the Jamorvi is the school of artifice and forging, metalworking, and Fivria is an adjacent school of magic dealing with earth. Jamorvi is essentially the application of fire, Pelaan, to earth, Fivria, and between the two is where Jamorvi is. Thank you, Dave. And next is Stuart.
Yep, my phone locked out. Stuart. I'm running Hafyn. Thalhen Beharnley is a little guy. He's a ranger with the Utham Roliri, and he's got a lot of years and experience behind him, and has been doing one kind of adventure or forestry for a long time, longer than you know by looking at him. But he is still a middle-aged, weathered, and very gruff-looking guy that has obviously spent that much time in the wilderness. So, light on his feet, sometimes a little mischievous, sometimes a little tired of it all, but he's got a little bit more to his story than meets the eye.
And one thing you notice, Zyrsin, is that and you notice this more as you keep traveling, is that he never really grows any kind of a 5 o'clock shadow or a beard or anything like that. You never see him shave, and he never seems to develop much in the way of a beard. All right, so when we last left off, you had both had a bit of a adventure in Trowbridge Inn, solving some problems there, and have spent about a half a day traveling, which got you about 5 Harnick leagues away from Trowbridge before you made a nice little camp for the night, and you were engaging in some kind of get-to-know-you conversation, and that is where we left off. If you want to kind of pick that up there or just move on to morning, that's up to you guys. And also, if you want to tell me, are you lighting a campfire, not lighting a campfire? I don't think you guys have tents. You're trying to travel light, I believe. You don't have any mules or donkeys or beasts of burden.
Well, off the main route, I don't think there's any real reason we wouldn't light a fire.
Are you guys traveling? You guys are traveling on the actual salt route, though, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah, we would be through the day. We might step off it to camp, although it's so early in the caravan season. I don't expect the people coming by.
Yeah, it is quite early.
I'm worried about the Chelna trying to check us out.
Yeah.
And find us and extort some kind of toll or tax for traveling through their territory without heavy guard. So I think maybe we do keep, unless it's going to be cold at night, given that it's summer.
You could try. Well, it's not summer. It's really quite early spring.
Okay.
The trees are. When I say early spring, just to give you context, I mean the trees are budding out at this point. They're not leafed.
Oh. Okay, I am thinking of something else.
Well, they might be beginning to leaf out. So I mean, it is probably the equivalent of April.
Okay.
So you are moving through mid-April, which means weather, of course, is wildly unpredictable. If you want to make a weather lore spell, skill check, you can get an idea of what to expect in the next the next
Yeah,
couple of
that's
days.
gonna be. I was gonna say if it's nice and dry and maybe just a little chilly, we can probably just wrap up. But if
Yeah,
we'll let.
the last. Go ahead. What'd you roll?
Marginal success.
Okay. And
If it's gonna
I
be
mean,
wet.
you've been, you've been well. It's been off and on rainy, but relatively warm for the time of year. As you were traveling on the 16th, but you think that this is not. This is one of those cases where it gets warm before it gets cold. So you think that probably you're looking at some cold weather ahead. Like it's in my experience and yours perhaps too. Sometimes it's the warmest before it gets the coldest, and you get the feeling that's probably what you're looking at here.
Well, I think we'll travel quick and light. We don't need a full tent or anything. If we get into trouble, I have some tricks up my sleeves, but I think we'll just try to pick a thick place to bed down in blankets out of the wind most nights
Okay.
until that front comes through, and if there's rain and stuff with it, I'm comfortable that I have a trick to throw up a makeshift
Yeah.
tent that'll be well enough.
You're not feeling you got marginal success. I mean, you're not feeling you feel it's going to be cool, but you're not feeling you feel like the rain is already feel like the rain already came through with the warm weather, and this is the cold weather and clouds pushing behind us. So you're thinking you might be able to dodge the rain in this, but you're not certain of that. So that's your feeling, but you do definitely feel as you're bedding down that it's beginning to that the wind has kind of shifted and is now coming more out of the north than out of the south, than out of the southwest as it was. So you're kind of expecting maybe it's going to start to cool off. Okay.
Now, when he was explaining the salt route in this time of year, he mentioned the Chelna. I'm unfamiliar with them. Could you elaborate on what that was? You said they might be trying to get a toll or something.
Oh, sure. They're a tribal people famous for their ponies and horsemanship. They tend to ride and use short bows. They're advantageously positioned on this trade route between two major halves of the island and the Kingdom of Kaldor and the Republic of Tharda. So they show up in force later in the year, middle of the summer to make sure that caravans either pay a toll or have enough guards that it would be problematic to raid the caravans. And so it's this part of this ecosystem of the Chelna trying to survive and get what they need to get, but take advantage of the supplies from civilization, but at the same time, caravan.
Sorry, we lost you, Stu. Yeah, we still lost you. But I'll speak on his behalf. But yeah, the Chelna they have a tribal range that goes basically east of Trowbridge for some distance, and the major caravans they will establish a tribute system to allow safe passage. You might be early enough in the season that the Chelna aren't even looking for you, but two lone travelers would certainly be at some risk. Okay, we're back. And Stu, you're talking about the Chelney?
Yes, they're not a tribal folk famous for ponies and their short bows, and they kind of ride as cavalry raiding groups, and they usually organize in the summer to profit, get supplies from civilization and other things off of the caravans that come through to exchange goods between the of Kaldor and the Republic of Tharda, so east and west halves of the island. And that's a big thing they organize for, and if we ran into one of those without much wherewithal, we'd be in trouble. But it's this early, we're only going to run into raiding, maybe a hunting party or foragers or something like that.
Because the caravans are just now leaving Cornan.
Right.
They're
So
they're,
they're
they're a month
weeks
away. Yeah.
Um, and what was I saying? They're not Jaran descendant. They're from the other peoples. But as long as I don't know. I mean, it may have been smarter for me to bring my Gargan skulls. They have problems with Gargan too, and so we have a common enemy. Hopefully, we can talk our way through and be polite, and they won't be bothered too much by our presence, especially if we're not hunting or taking it from their land. I hope they don't mind.
All right. So that's the conversation you guys have before finding a little nook that's hopefully relatively free of ticks to bed down in. And you're pretty close to Trowbridge. I mean, you're only a half a day's walk out of Trowbridge at this point. Well, that night does go uneventfully, and the next day, I'm going to move you to a walking through the woods map. So I had this set up so it reveals as you're. Whoop! That's not the right map. I'm sorry. I had it set up so it reveals more as you move along, just to kind of replicate being able to see through dense woodland. I'll describe things if you can see things further up ahead. You are traveling through the woods and have gone most of the day making good time. This is the 17th now. Did you guys, in the morning, did you do anything special in the morning before leaving camp?
I would probably do a CM ritual, but other than that, no.
Okay. And if you could just describe that ritual as you understand it. Do we list Stu again?
I think he's muted, but I don't think that he's gone.
Okay.
Sorry. So the Siam rituals are best done at night under the stars. Fill a bowl with water to reflect the heavens, our Azura bowl of kind of our worship focus to meditate on. And yeah, that would be common practice for us to take a time in the night at some point to do that.
Okay.
Sit, meditate, pray, and kind of reflect on the reflection.
All right. Well, make a ritual.
Stars.
Make a ritual roll for me, if you will, please.
Sure. Oh no.
CM
You're getting good at that.
CM is extraordinarily angered at your efforts. I'm not even sure how you can do that. All right, so you're distracted and just you don't have the inner peace that you need to properly commune with CM in the heavens and feel one with nature as properly conducting this ritual would do. The next day, as you sort of predicted with your sense of the weather, the next day we're now on the 17th, is cold. It is maybe, as you wake up in the morning, it is a bit humid, so maybe it didn't quite reach freezing. Some frost in low-lying areas, and you think it's just going to be cold. This is going to be pretty much cold all day, is how you feel about it. Maybe even getting colder as you go into tomorrow, as whatever this weather system is pushing through. And you start to walk, and you're making good time. It's not wet. The rains over the last couple of days were sporadic, not constant. So it didn't turn the roads into complete muck and mire. The salt route is a trail that is navigable by wagons and carts, but only with great difficulty. And you are fortunate that you're on foot going as you are, because nobody has come through yet to maintain the trail after the winter. So you're going across downed trees and places where it is washed out, and the advanced parties that conduct the caravan will start to try to saw through the timbers and move these logs off the road. It it impacts your time a little bit as you're working your way around large fallen trees, but Hafyn always seems to have the right knack for going just the right way and finding the easiest path. So you're making surprisingly good time, even on a road, but not a well-maintained one at this point. By the end of the fall, by the end of the spring, the road will have a lot of this debris off of it, but it'll also be very rutted from the passage of all the carts going by. They'll just make it into muck on a rainy day. And you're about halfway through the day, so you've gone about a watch, a good 5 leagues of travel, and you're moving your way along, and you hear a stream crossing, and there are many stream crossings that one comes across, but there's a stream crossing coming up ahead as you're working your way down the path, and if you could, and I know you're good at it, Hafyn, but if you could just go ahead and make me an awareness check. Not at any special level, so I'm just going to give you, I'm going to give you like a -20 on it, just because it's just general being aware as opposed to like keenly looking around. Okay. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah, they're marginal success.
Okay. Gotcha. Fine. Even with -20, 92. Oh, okay. So
I wasn't going to call attention to it, but yeah.
I am not going to roll publicly for this roll. You are, and you can go ahead and move your characters forward as you work your way down the salt route. Just move on at a nice, reasonable pace. And there's a small stream crossing the salt route. A little bit rocky. Nothing. And again, they're just super common. These kinds of streams are. They're just all over the place. And I know these leaves, these look fully leafed out. They're, at this point in the season, they're a little bit past budding. You see small green leaves at the ends of the branches, beginning budding flowers. Nothing. So the cover here isn't great. But there's some. And you're working your way along. Small stream, maybe 10 feet across. And these kinds of streams are going to cross the path virtually every league, if not more commonly, as they join some more major water course down the way. And it is while you're crossing the stream, because that's always when it happens.
It's always
when a gentleman steps out from behind the trees, because they rolled a 25 on their stealth roll, which is a critical success. And he steps out, and I'll let you make a straight-up awareness check at this point.
Both of us?
It's going to be on eyesight at this point. So each of you can look at the guy as you see him there. He's dressed in studded leather, kind of brigandine stuff. He has a scarf around his face. He has a hood up. But looking at him with your critical success, you recognize him as being one of the people that you saw, of the many people that you saw in the tavern in the inn a day or two ago. He was one of the patrons there. Kind of kept to himself, just sort of was keeping an eye on people, So you recognize him. Just from his clothing, his arms at his side. You're like, oh yeah, that guy. Okay, I see how it is. And he strides out from behind a tree where he was down behind with his back to the bowl of the tree, and steps out sort of confidently onto the trail and says, "Oh there, friends. There's only the two of you. I do mean we when I say we. We can make this an easy exchange, or it can go difficultly, and we don't want the latter. I'm not asking for you to give up all that you have, just some coin, maybe some hardtack, some provisions. We'll let you on your way. There's only two of you, and my lads, most of them can't count past 5, but they know that there's more of us than there are of you." He gives sort of this self-effacing smile when he says that. If you want to kind of scan around and look, you can do that.
I'm definitely going to look around for his other lads, and even give him a close look with an intrigue check. I don't necessarily think he's got other lads.
That's fair.
He was keeping to himself in the bar. He was, alone and quiet. If he'd had lads, I expect they'd have been with him in the bar. Yeah, maybe he does have guys.
You're not really sure. Either way, it's an interesting bit of speculation, but you just don't know.
Well,
glancing about, are there? I don't see anybody else in hiding.
Did you roll another awareness?
Not another one. I can.
I don't see anybody if they're out there.
You don't see them. So if they're there, you do not see them. So you just can't be sure. Look, guys, we're not asking for much.
Well, my friend, if you're hungry, I'd be more than happy to share a meal with you. But I don't have very much of anything on myself, so I really can't give you money. I don't have any. And as far as food, I only have enough to get to where we're going. But if you're hungry, I'll share a meal with you. But that's all.
All right. It's a bit of a persuade or a rhetoric or a which skill. Every game's got different skills for these things. Which is the best one for this one?
I think in this game it's rhetoric.
Rhetoric. All right. You are trying to. Of course, he has sort of like a counter with an intrigue to see whether you are. Of course, you're speaking for yourself. Hafyn might have a bit more stuff, but we'll see.
Okay. So just straight up, or you want to modify it?
I'll go straight up. That's fine.
Marginal failure.
Marginal failure. Of course, you're sort of being truthful, I guess. I mean, are you?
I don't have any. I have very little money. I really only have food to share.
We're wearing, or at least I think Zyrsin has some fancy clothes that we just got.
Well, I'm not wearing those traveling. Those are to wear to the fancy birthday we're going to. I wouldn't wear those on the road. I do have my fancy cloak, but he can see my clothing is quite worn. But to be fair to him, my sack would appear to be full with all that clothing.
Well, I mean, I hear you speaking for yourself, but your short friend here has not opened his mouth yet. What do you have, little guy? There's only two of you. I understand that you're not going to have much, but you have. I would not deprive a man of his weapons. It is a dangerous place out here. And looking at him, as far as how he is armed, he has.
Yes, that was a question if he had a bow or not.
He doesn't have a bow. No, he does not. He has a falchion, and he has, which is out.
Mm-hmm.
and he has no shield with that, and he has a sheathed dagger, and he's wearing he's wearing a ring vest and a plate nasal helm that you can see under his hood.
Yeah.
He's kind of reasonably to lower end armored. He has some curved vambraces on his forearms.
Well, sir, I recognize you from the other night at Trowbridge Inn, and I wouldn't mind sharing the small coin or food I have for information on the road ahead, but seeing as you just came from Trowbridge, I don't know that you know anything about the road ahead to make it a fair trade.
I wasn't really. I'm sorry. Did I make it sound like we were engaged in commerce here? Because we're not. This is. Oh, geez, what's the word? Highway robbery. Yes, it is. This is highway robbery. Let's be honest about it. But no one really wants to get hurt. You are armed lads. We are armed lads. It is in the interest of none of us that we come to blows. It is. However, if it becomes necessary,
as he's speaking,
that can't happen.
I do want to ease an arrow and my bow around and try to surprise him with a shot.
That's
no,
I mean, your bow probably,
I don't buy his story.
Your bow probably is not strung. I mean,
Good
do you walk?
point.
Yeah, you just can't walk around with a strung bow. It'll warp wood and be a problem.
Yeah. Right. Moisture's not a problem for my Teldon style bow, but yeah, I wouldn't carry it like that all the time. Yeah, no, okay. I'll pull out a couple silver in my hand and just hold it out right where I stand. Okay. If this is highway robbery, come rob us.
He motions to that stone there. Let's go ahead and. How much coin do you have in your hand?
Oh, 2 silver. 2 pence.
Start putting them there. Points to that stone. Go ahead.
I'll also put 2 pence there.
Do you guys go to the stone or have them out in your hand?
I'll start walking toward the stone.
Okay.
I'm gonna pretend to slip and drop him in the creek.
All right.
There go your coins.
I guess that's an acting roll. So make ahead give me an acting roll on that.
What is that?
I think it's acting skill. I think there's a skill for that.
Yeah, I don't think I have it. I'm gonna ham it up.
You'll have to. You can find the skill base for it and go ahead and give it a rip.
I'll look it up real quick.
Well, let's just roll a percentile and see if it's even worth looking up.
That's fair. That's a good way to get through things fast.
Ability, voice, intelligence.
No. Oh!
Look, I dropped it in the creek. Oh, how butterfingers of me. He looks extraordinarily irritated. Pick them up, put them on the stone, and keep putting coins there until I tell you to stop.
I put 4 coins on the stone.
4 coins.
And tell him that's all I can spare.
Hafyn, what are you doing?
I'm being obstinate.
I see that.
Yeah, I'm gonna step to the other side of the stream and point back at it, shoulder my walking stick. That's not really a walking stick, and tell him he's got all day before somebody else comes by. You can find your coin in the river if you want it.
So you left 4, and you have 2 in the river, and you were going to try to see if 6 will carry the day. I mean, 6 is a coin is a day's labor for a man, so it's not trivial. Might be less than he wants. All right, give me a see if you accept that. Give me a diplomacy roll on that. Maybe he looks you up and down. That's fine. Drive a hard bargain, little man. On your way. He steps kind of well off the trail. He's not going to fetch the coins until you're well gone.
Yeah, all right.
I look at Hafyn. Should I pick up my coins?
I mean, he could see where you guys. I mean, he steps away from you guys.
Okay, when you said well off, I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
he's watching you.
Interested in actually getting into a tussle. All right, we'll go by him, then we'll start to talk quietly.
As you pass, though, you can if you look, I'll give you another check to see if you can spot any of his men. They're not optimized for looking from the other direction. Let's put it that way.
Well, that's okay.
Okay, you see that there are some guys. I'll ping where they are. Like there are some other folk that are
up there and down there. Oh,
yeah, there's at least two that you saw. All you see is kind of like looking that way. You see like a person, like their silhouette by a tree, and when you look that way, you see them jerk behind the tree to try to hide.
Yeah.
So you don't get much more detail than that. If you just say we just keep going, that's fine. You can just do that.
Yeah. I think
I don't know.
Our lives are worth more than 6 coins, so I think it's a fair deal.
Yeah, I still feel obstinate. Like a hammer. It's. I guess they're keeping the wilds wild, right? Maybe they're not totally problematic for the Utham Roliri. Yeah. I'm a little insulted they're not working for their pay, but I guess they keep,
Looking back, you see one of the guys come out and start looking through the water, and as the leader goes and gets the ones off the stone. He's not gonna get his hands wet like that.
Zyrsin, I'm really tempted to start shooting. I don't know why. These guys bothered me.
Even though you can't see them, you can see them. I put a little fog of war there to indicate forest. So if you look back, you can see. And right now, you guys are a pretty fair distance away. I mean, for bows, it's not too far, but it's still you're still 100 and still almost over 120 feet away from where they are, which is not a lot for a bow, but
right. No, okay, it is not worth it.
I see he's considering turning back, and try and calm him down. It's only 6 coin. It's not worth it.
All right.
All right.
Oh, young hoodlums and truancy problem. Anyway, all right. We keep going. Not a big deal.
I'm going to go ahead and use this map and continue with it. The rest of that day goes by without. It remains cold and overcast. The wind is not. The wind is gusty, as you'd sort of expect with a front of some sort pushing through. And you go your full 2 watches, and so you get pretty good mileage. And I'll move you to the map and show you how far you get, assuming that this didn't slow you down very much at all. So this was a pretty good day of travel.
Right.
Chilly conditions, but you don't get overheated.
Getting stabbed in the leg would slow us down a lot.
It certainly would.
That's the real problem.
Let me know if this map is loaded.
Yep, it's about
The map is loaded.
Okay, so you guys get about that far. And by your estimation, Hafyn, at the pace you're going, you'll probably reach Tashel by the 22nd. Give you a pretty good amount of.
Yeah.
You got a pretty good amount of time for anything to happen if something were to occur. You run into really bad weather, so you got about a. You're doing okay. You're doing okay. Would you try to camp near a water source for the night? Because one of these stream crossings is available. You could just pick one, or would you try to be away from the stream?
No, I mean we'd probably fill up water skins and such and go a bit beyond. Just because it attracts other things, right? If wolves or whatnot come to drink and find us.
Okay.
You know, that's just a little too popular of a place.
Okay, I got you. Grab ya. To a generic trail in woods map.
Zyrsin, you didn't have to, give them fake temporary Jamorvi made coins.
If only he had thought of that. What has that spell?
Disappear in a few hours.
The way. No, I don't. If I did, any real inspection probably would have shown them that it was fake. Although.
Well, okay.
The circumstances, they didn't go out to them until you were quite some distance away.
But they probably would have seen me. Prepare them.
Unless you do it very still and very quietly, which you can try to do, but it would not be hugely successful. You have to have something prepared to turn into a fake bit of money. We'll just call this a good place where you can set up a camp. Don't need to do it in slow motion. It's just to establish kind of your camping routine. Did you guys want to make a fire or not? Did we establish that?
I'm basing it off of temperature. If it's getting cold, I'm going to start talking about fire.
It is cold, yeah. Make a weather lore for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow will be the 18th.
Yeah, to keep us warm, we'll do a fire, probably. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, wow. All right. Tomorrow, this cooling trend is going to continue, and it's going to be quite cold. It's going to be clearing, but before it clears, you may catch either some sleet or some snow. But you think you're going to be okay through the night, but you think tomorrow is going to bring some wet weather. Either if it's cold enough, it's going to snow. If it's not cold enough, it's going to be mixed rain and sleet.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe if we go up here near these big trees and this rock.
Okay.
We probably use the rock as a place to direct the heat a little bit more toward us. Kind of keep it.
Yeah, it's definitely a good windbreak. But I guess that's my pain. Oh. Yeah, there. Too far for you guys to see.
All right. Did you draw something?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, well, I pinged way up here.
Oh.
What?
Where'd you ping?
I zoomed out to see what you're trying to ping.
Right up there.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's the good spot. Far enough from the road, they might not see our fire, and and we'll heat up some rocks overnight in our fire, and carry them with us in the morning, to kind of keep our.
Did I lose one of you guys?
Warm.
Oh, yeah, you moved up there. Okay, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, that's a nice little fire.
Okay. Or there, wherever. All right, you guys make camp there, and you find a relatively cozy. Yeah, make a woodland survival skill just to make sure that you've got it all facing the right direction. And look at that, you're crit successing. Wait till combat happens. Um,
All on or all off?
yeah, you find the rock, you hit the right side of the rock, and you put the fire in just the right place and feed it through the night, and you have a fairly nice, comfy little camp through the night. You sleep very nicely, and moving during the night, you do your ritual spells. Let's see if that trend continues with your successes.
Oh.
Conduct your.
Well, I need a new trend. There you go. That's working. Oh no.
I spilled my water.
Yeah, you don't drink it, man.
It's don't slosh on the ground. That's not how it works. It's you look at it and yeah. All right. So Hafyn, you'll get a piety point for your for. By the way, for also you feel that maybe dealing with the situation peacefully might have been the right thing to do.
Yeah, so, I've gotten over my frustration and just
while reflecting, you feel that CM prefers a peaceful resolution to these things as opposed to a violent one, and you feel that you've communed more with CM based on that. And the night goes by peacefully. You sleep soundly and with relative warmth. But the next day is cold, and the clouds are beginning to be kind of leaden and threatening. No thunder. I mean, it's not that time of year, but it's getting that feeling that I cannot predict, given that I'm in Florida, to know what it looks like when it's about to snow. But it has that look. You folk who are from Indiana and have a better idea than I do. It has that look of what it looks like before it's getting ready to snow.
Yeah. It's not quite as dark as when it's gonna rain hard, but it still is dark, broody clouds. You're right.
Okay.
Well, I do think we heat up some rocks in our fire, through most of the night, and stow them to carry them with, rags or packs or shirts around them when they're too hot, but then they're nice hand warmers as we're going. Hopefully we find if it's going to snow hard and be windy and kind of snowstorm, we'll keep an eye out for a good shelter to take. Well, or does it seem like it's going to start early in the day or late in the day?
You did get a critical success on that, and
yeah.
As you are, as you're breaking camp, it is beginning to. You begin to get little flecks and flurries of snow coming down. You think that's going to snow through a good most of the day, like really until your traveling watches are probably going to be snowy. It's going to stay cold enough. You think that it's not going to actually be sleeting, which is good. I mean, being cold and that would be terrible. But
been through that. No, okay. Let's keep moving. Snow is not so bad if it just brushes off. We have cloaks, and we keep warmer moving than sitting. So we'll.
Okay.
I hope I have I hope I have a little pouch of sand or something I can keep a coal in from the fire to start a fire real easily. But maybe I don't. That's extra pack. I don't need skills. No, we'll do hand warmer rocks for the morning and keep moving.
Okay.
Keep warm and figure out what the evening looks like.
You guys make the trail. You break camp. You come out to the trail, and you really have just started to travel down it. When you see a group of people coming towards you, they're not slinking about. They're not hiding. They're a group of about 5 people. They're on foot, and they have 2 mules that are carrying pretty full saddlebags of provisions. Hard to tell. It's all tied up and wrapped. Most of them look like men at arms, and there's one person who is dressed in more plain clothes. And they're coming your direction. I'm not going to put them on the map because I don't anticipate the need, but they look a little startled when they see you on the trail coming their direction. One of the men at arms, is clearly wounded. He has a large his shoulder looks like he was recently bleeding. That something had happened to him. They're coming in your direction.
Yeah.
They're not.
Hello there, young men. What are you doing out so far so early in the spring?
Dave, I'm gonna let you make an intrigue roll on this one.
Are they armed like Kaldorans or
Marginal failure.
Marginal failure.
Or just armed?
Are they wearing like badges or
tabards? Yeah, tabards or any kind of heraldic symbols.
They are not. They look like they're well armed. So yeah. They're wearing a mix of Kerbal and Scale and nasal helms. They have spears and shields. The person who seems to be leading it is a person. He's a little older than Zyrsin. He has a stick and a dagger, dressed relatively well. He has a satchel, kind of similar to the one that Zyrsin carries, where you know that he has a large grimoire, a large book inside of it, is what you've seen Zyrsin have. And Zyrsin, you notice that at the very least, and I'll sort of. He has that similar scholarly look that Zyrsin has.
Okay.
And they're walking your direction, and they're moving a little slowly because the one guy is kind of moving along in a little bit of pain. So. The young guy, the youngest, well, the one that's sort of leading it, the one who's a scholar. There's sort of two people leading it. There's one guy who seems to be the person who hired everybody, you know, the mage, perhaps, or the scholar at least, and there is a more grizzled, older-looking mercenary, and they're both they're sorting out who's in charge. You can kind of get that sense about them. The young man speaks first and says, "Well, greetings. I'm Delsin. This is Tarn. We are we're heading west. We'll be reaching Trowbridge hopefully next day or two. Any dangers that we should be? Any other dangers that we should be aware of?"
Indeed, we had to pay a small band of highwaymen a toll for crossing their stream, apparently. So they lightened our coin a bit, but you seem to be numerous enough that you may not have to.
Yes.
What happened to your fellow there? What's behind us?
Well,
behind you and ahead of us.
Well, we had a bit of a run-in with the some horsed savages. We're from Eldarin and not as familiar as we perhaps should have been with local customs. And Tarn here took some offense at the toll they were preparing to levy, and they did get their toll. Let us put it that way. Tarn gives him a dirty look, but not before. Tarn's the grizzled mercenary. Yes.
Yeah, not the wounded one.
No, the wounded one is one of his men. So yes, these savages. They didn't ask too much out of us, although they did get some metal weapons that I was loath to give. But anyway, yes, he took a good spear to the shoulder, as you can see, and convinced us that they were in the right, I would have to say. That was yesterday afternoon. We spent a rather scared and cold night, hoping they would not come back. So,
generally they have bigger fish on their mind. Bigger game. Eldarin is a fishing island. Bigger fish to fry. Well, I might be able to help your friend out there if you would take a rest and help me search around for some supplies.
He gives you a funny look, like or actually, Dave, you might be able to help out too.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and make a intrigue roll for this guy too. he's been giving you he's been sort of giving you a look also, Dave. Like he's been kind of eyeballing you, and you've been kind of eyeballing him. Like, what kind of supplies are we speaking of? And what kind of help are you talking of?
Oh, I'm know a few woodland tricks. Somebody of my experience in the wilderness. If I can find some honey, if I can find some other herbs, I can definitely provide some medicine to quicken the healing there.
All right.
If
He looks
not been treated already.
He looks intrigued. All right. So we would say that he has a serious wound to the shoulder. A serious puncture wound to the shoulder is what he has.
Right.
All right. They'll sort of take a. Well, we have not been on the trail long, but certainly we would not want this to get worse or infected, and they start to take their ease against that rock over there.
Okay. So I probably am not carrying any honey. I need to forage up some.
Actually, the ritual requires that be honey found locally. It is quite,
okay.
Yeah. It's not something you can prepare for. You have to look around for it.
Can't even do it. So
I'll give you a forage roll for it.
Sure. That's what I have to do it. Find it every time.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Not too rare around here.
No. It'll take you a little bit of time though.
Right.
You in this time of year.
Poke the bees a little bit to get away without being stung.
And the bees are. It's a cup. It's a cup of honey, which require. Might need to. Give me a survival roll to see if you can light a fire and smoke them out and make them docile too.
Yeah,
okay. It takes you a good hour, and so Dave, are you with him or are you going to talk with these guys for an hour?
I talk with these guys for an hour.
Okay.
Let him do his thing.
They're asking you. What, I'm sorry. What he's looking at? Where did he go? No, he's asking.
I had to find honey.
Okay. He said. Well, he's asking Dave now because you've left. He's like, I'm sorry. He said find honey.
Yeah, he's a man of nature, and he likes being alone and going into the woods and spending some time. He's very good at finding things, though, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does find some honey.
Sure, but we're not baking a cake. What does he need honey for?
He and I are followers of CM, and if he finds what he's looking for, he may be able to, conjure up some healing salve for you.
Speaking of conjuring,
at this point I would take out my focus, which to anybody else would probably just look like a hunk of metal, and just start fumbling with it in my hand to try and, see his reaction.
Sure. Yeah, he doesn't quite respond in kind, but he says, so you wouldn't be of much use in this healing arts situation. This is not your
I have other talents which can certainly help if he's willing to let me do some work. For what I believe you as well, I'm of the Shek Pavar. And I do have a spell that could help.
We're both going the same direction. This my talents within my chantry is not similar in its what we do. My talents deal more with esoterica and the mind and matters of the spirit, and less with the earth. But if you are multi-talented in that fashion and you branch beyond working with metal, then he talks to the man for a moment. This fellow here is a is a physician of special skills, and let's maybe take a look at the wound. How do you feel about that? They confer for a few moments. Tarn's looking awfully suspicious, but the man agrees. So Hafyn, you're coming back at this point probably as the man is on the ground and his shoulder is bared, and Zyrsin is taking a look at it. So you're going to cast, and we're going to introduce to our listeners some magic and healing mechanics. So right now, he has. I gotta find the right page.
Physician 3.
Physician 3. I also have the new edition of 3.5 also came with a DM screen, which had all this stuff on it. He has had no treatment on a serious stab. So has a healing rate of 4. I guess maybe he's had a well, we'll see if they bandage him up how they did. So we'll say they have very poorly. So they did a very bad job of bandaging him up. Yeah, I rolled a. That's a critical failure. So he has a poorly bandaged, dirty, filthy bandage on his shoulder with a.
Hey guys, you're
with
not actually supposed to rub dirt in it. By the way,
Tarn doesn't agree. By the way, yeah, so when I was a lad, that's how we were taught to deal with wounds. So it's a healing rate of 3. So, Dave, you are first. You are up to bat. What are you going to do for this man?
I have a spell called Balm of Gressin.
All right.
What it does is, it allows a person or animal touched by a caster to heal faster. Balm of Green can only be used once per injury element. The effect is to immediately provide 1 healing roll.
Immediate healing roll.
Yes. Now, being as talented as I am, I start waving my arms quite wildly.
Quite wildly, and shouting your incantation.
And start talking in chants very loudly. Including...
Do you want to... Right now, Tarn's other men are looking a little bit alarmed here. And the other mage is now trying to assist you in calming them down. And he kind of looks over his shoulder at you as you're casting this, saying, like, kind of new at this, aren't you, Zyrsin?
Kind of do that wink and a nod.
I'm gonna, under my breath, near the guys. Maybe Zyrsin can't hear me, but I'm gonna mumble things like, "Such a show off. Why does he make such a dramatic every time? He hams it up."
After about 20 seconds of this,
they buy this stuff out west, and kind of play it off like a, it's a I call it, like a carnival show or some kind of demonstration. I'll try to oratory our way.
Okay.
Oh no!
It's all right. Between your efforts, you kind of almost have to hold the men back as they are alarmed at what is going on, and hopefully hopefully Zyrsin will get a good result. So give me at least a plus 10. Is it plus 10? Plus 10. All right. So Balm of Gressin plus 10. Give her a rip.
Critical success.
Oh,
nice. So what does that give him?
I'm trying to see if a critical success changes anything.
It should.
In this particular spell, it doesn't actually give a critical success adjustment.
Okay. So he gets an immediate healing roll.
Yes.
Okay.
Basic spell cannot restore blood loss and will not provide work on healing head. Does not remove fatigue. Duration 1 healing roll. It does not give what happens if you roll critical on this particular spell.
Okay. So he gets an immediate chance, although with a healing rate of 3.
Not great.
Yeah, it's not great. It's pretty bad. We'll say he has an endurance of somewhere around 13. So 13 times 3 is his heal roll.
Dave, we did this out of order, but it's good that we're working this out.
Although I do believe I don't think I get fatigue.
He does roll a 6 on his heal roll. So his wound immediately looks a great deal better.
Oh.
It looks less nasty, less inflamed. He kind of moves his shoulder. Well, that does feel better. Huh. I thought all that yelling and shouting and poking would have made it worse.
Well, that's good. That's encouraging.
Yeah, I get no fatigue at least.
Okay.
That's a success, no fatigue.
That's a good bonus. So I'll still do my thing. It's a much the other contrast to that production. It's quiet prayers. Over this honey. I actually am going to roll a physician roll to see if I can bandage it up better and do a little bit.
Well, you could rebandage it. You can maybe try to keep it from getting infected by giving it cleaner bandages, but it's already been treated, so you can't really do subsequent treatments. It's just treated poorly.
Sure. I mean, this is really I'm covering my ritual and other things that I'm doing with the herbs and the honey.
He has to drink. He has to drink
physician work.
And he has to drink the honey, though. Is how the ritual works.
He does.
Okay.
Okay. So bandaging is just rudimentary.
Cosmetic. Yeah.
But and I maybe I do prep the honey. Are we in the wilderness enough that it counts as a +10 for Siam?
Sure.
Or should I take it to the woods?
No, you're wilderness. It's just a trail. You're in the woods.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll see if the honey. Oh, wait.
Target. No, that's not. It can't be that. That's not the target EML. 51 is probably gonna be a success. What's your ritual skill?
It is 51. This is my EML. Yeah.
Okay.
So yes.
That should have worked. I don't know why it did that. 10. I don't know what did you roll? This is weird.
I'll give you 51, but it's showing his target EML is 5.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know.
Maybe
we have it set up improperly, but okay. You will have succeeded. Sure. I think that just helps him over time. So.
Yes, his healing rate. Sorry, I was there and I flipped to position to check that. The honey. He has a +20 to his healing rolls.
That's a substantial benefit, especially when he was at a 39, but now he's fortunately 13 more than that. So he's over 50. He's at 52 now. +20 is at 72. So he'll have a much better chance of healing, but it'll just happen more slowly. The effects are not immediate.
Yep.
He drinks the honey, which he kind of, you give it to him. Well, I don't really like honey. I don't like the texture. He says.
Choke it down.
Drink
some water.
he chokes it down with some water. Because I don't really feel anything different.
Well, it'll slowly heal, as normal. But this will aid the process and help prevent infection. And any other complications. So, do it. Listen to your elders, except for when they tell you to rub dirt in your wound.
All right, Dave. Do you ever ask this guy where they're going or anything like that?
That's what I was going to try and do in the small conversation that we were having before. Made it kind of blatant. My intentions was to try to get a feel from. Well, they're coming from. I think it's Meldrin.
Meldrin, yeah.
Meldrin. That's kind of far off. What are you guys doing here?
If you want to be a little persuasive with him, he might be able to tease it out of him. He seems he's playing that kind of close, but now that he knows that you have some skills and you've done a pretty good job healing his man, he might be willing to. You might have gotten a little bit of respect from him.
Yeah, I was in the woods for the esoteric comment, but does he have Savorian script prominent, stuff on him, or is he really undercover or any other kind of telling, crystals or flames?
What like any regalia? I mean, he's traveling somewhat incognito, but obviously, Savoria, they're going to use their focus is going to be things like tarot cards or pentacles. You can make an observation, an awareness check, and see if you notice it as he's moving around, whether you see any of those things. Okay. You catch a glimpse of more like arcane runes that are hidden on like a necklace Nothing. You probably might have some idea what that is. I don't know how much your character knows about Shekpavar. So you probably have been around long enough to know that he is probably a Savorian. Dave, you kind of talked to him about that. He seems to be playing it pretty close. So, well, there's some ruins not far from Trowbridge, and Chantry sent me to look into some things.
Fair enough.
How far is not far
from Trowbridge?
Right. I mean, we were in the caves underneath Trowbridge.
Oh, not at Trowbridge. It's
okay. Fair enough.
You can make a. Go ahead and you can try. I'll need a good success if you want to try to get him to say anything. Hafyn, as far as rhetoric or a skill to try to get him to talk a little bit more. I mean, you have helped his men, so that's fine. I'll give you the chance to have a roll for that.
You know what? I'll chat up the men instead.
Okay.
Right? You know, hey, I bet we just came from Trowbridge. Yeah, there's that one instance of some, handful of muggers, highwaymen trying to take our coin. There's enough of you, it should be fine. But, I mean, other than Chelney behind you, I mean, yeah, what are you guys up for? I mean, how far are you going? If you're going all the way to Tharda, or are you, I'll just kind of.
We're stopping at Trowbridge.
Yeah.
Make a roll.
Information with them.
Well, he's looking to see if there's some ruins. Still Chelney territory. It's a bit north of Trowbridge. Plain of Towers was called. We should have got a local guide. Maybe we can find one there. That's the idea. Some old ruin keeps calling them the ancients or the Earthmasters. Dangerous stuff, he says. I hope there's enough of us. He says if we stay small and travel light, we should avoid trouble. Although look what happened so far. But that's what I'm told.
Right. Remember the towers. There are a number of ruins. A lot of them are ancient. That are of great interest to learned men such as your employer. Certainly, most of the threat would be from the wilderness tribesmen, Gargan, in the surrounding territory. Do you have any experience with Gargan?
Well, I mean, we not terribly much. Meldorin, we fortunately, because I'm from the island itself, I'm not from Thay. We're from the island. We're from Sheriff here. So, fortunately, the island does not have any of the scourge there, which is one of the things this little Mageling talks about. Is this is where he says where Gargan came from is where we're headed. I don't know if that means there's more there. He says not. He says they moved on beyond that. But this is told some story about some mage Lothram and brought the Gargan and all that. That's what he wants to look at. Seems dangerous, but we're well paid. We intend to hire maybe another soldier or two and a guide when we hit Trowbridge. That's the plan, at least.
Well, I think you'll find some guides and some soldiers there. Most of them are waiting around for caravan work, but that is a dangerous line of question. Gargan and Lothram and things. That's best history left buried, if you ask me.
I don't think I don't think he's worried about that as much as these ruins he talks of. These ruins before the elves. He says that's what he keeps talking about. I guess that's a special interest to him and his kind. Anyway,
they are a sight.
Have you seen them?
Some of them. I don't believe I've been to the Plain of Towers myself, but other sites.
Anything I should know about?
Like I said, I think most of the let him go in, and give him space for whatever he wants to do. I would keep my eyes on the woods and wilderness around you more than.
So the ruins
Sight.
themselves, yeah. All right, I hear
I
you.
don't recall it being inhabited. Sometimes folks settle there to study. Folks like him, and sometimes Gargan or other things move into the halls and caverns inside the ruins, just as a like a bear would in a cave, right? So, you might have a bear to deal with or something. They don't mean anything special, but definitely be on your toes for that sort of a thing.
All right. I respect that. And thank you for helping my man. I'm sorry if I took some offense. I just didn't know what you were doing, but he looks better already. All right. Man, we need to get going here. Good. We have a long walk. We've wasted enough time. Not that it was a waste, my good friend. I'm glad that he is doing better.
Right. So, Zyrsin, did you get anything out of the other Shekbavar? It was distracting.
He played it pretty close. Nah, he didn't want to say anything.
I mean, I would just elaborate. He says he's going to some ruins near Trollbridge. Don't know much else.
Okay. They go their way, you go on your way. And off you go. And this was, I believe, the 18th.
Correct.
That's what I have.
Okay. You continue your travels. Weather stays snowy and cold, but it never does turn to rain, fortunately. And on the end of the day, on the 18th, you find yourself in the Chelna Gap. You've left the hilly country and are now going across an area known as the Chelna Gap. It is mixed woodland. There's some open space here and there, a bit less densely forested as it was in the hills. And the evening goes by without incident. You make another camp. It's much similar to the other one. Go ahead and make me a survival roll, please, Hafyn, just for the sake of seeing how good your camp is and how comfortable it is. Ooh. Oh, look at you. What a champ. When do you need to?
I'm a professional at this.
You want to make a weather check for me? Weather. Make a weather lore, please.
Yeah, that's good idea.
The rain the snow has tapered as you were starting to make camp, but you fear that tomorrow it might be still cool, but not as cold, and a bit more blustery and rainy is the concern. And that rain might start to come in tonight. Not sure, but might start to come in tonight.
Okay. Well, we want a good start. I'll go ahead and try a Ulden's tent.
Okay.
With our blankets and whatever else we can kind of prop up.
Just roll your ritual skill and then just subtract what circle it is, and that way it'll get get past whatever that problem is with the spells.
Okay. Yeah, it's a circle 1, so it's -5.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, works
there
out.
You go. All right, so Dave, he just cobbles together and lashes together just some branches. Doesn't really spend much time doing it. Seems to be able to, if you curl up, 2 people get inside of it, but inside you can see the sky. It's not even that good a shelter. But once you're inside, it is really quite snug, surprisingly. He did mumble a prayer over it, and whatever he did seems to work. It seems really quite secure. That night passes uneventfully. Next day, it is a bit slow going, and you're traveling. Fortunately, the land is flat, so that is in your favor. But it is a bit of mixed rain. It's pretty steady rain. It does start before sunrise, and it looks like it's going to rain all day long. On foot, it's not going to take too much travel time off of you, but if you had a cart or a wagon, it'd slow you down to just about a crawl. And you start to work your way to the northwest. You're about halfway to Tashel at this point. And the major thing that's coming along, as you may recall, Hafyn, is that the trail crosses the Gleam River. It's not on this map. It drains from the Kethla Hills down into the Kald. This map is just not scaled for it. This is just sort of a general traveler's map. But you know that's coming up ahead, and that's where we're going to move you to now, is that river crossing. Make me an awareness roll at a pretty good minus, because you're not really looking for it necessarily. So give me like a minus 30 on an awareness check. Hafyn. Both of you. That's fine.
I was going to say, as we're going, I do want to keep an eye out for horse hooves and evidence that the Chelney may have been around, since they
gotcha. Since they did
men-at-arms.
Since they did take it, the guy got a spear to the chest from it. Okay. You notice that they're filled with puddles now, but there are some recent ruts and tracks in the mud that the salt route has become. So it looks like a wagon has been going down the trail, and you don't see any footprints. Well, I'd require a tracking roll to get more detail than that. I'm sorry. So you notice that, yeah. The only clear thing you can see is there are some wagon ruts that are filled with water and look fairly recent. And from here you can hear.
I assume there's people and horses with a wagon. I don't need to check to tell you that. Apparently.
All right. So you can hear the Gleam River up ahead, and that's where you guys are. That's the map you are on at this present time. The trail is getting ready to cross the Gleam, which is a good 50, 60 feet across. It's a pretty good-sized ford at this point. There's no bridge there. It is going across the river, which probably come about waist deep.
Right. Well, Zyrsin, we should find the river and find a good place to cross. See if anyone else has set up something.
How cold is it right now?
Effort to get
cold. It's cool. It's probably in the 40s, and it's raining.
And we're about to be chest deep in water.
And you're about to be chest deep in water.
There's a proper way to do this. Don't worry. I'm gonna.
Go ahead and start moving up a little bit. It's fine.
I am keeping an eye out for dry sticks, twigs, and other fire materials underneath trees or somewhere that may have escaped the rain.
Okay. Up ahead, you see quite a sight. There is a wagon being laboriously pushed and pulled by a pair of. They have very monkish, priestish look to them, and behind them there is an older priest who is kind of occasionally pushing on the wagon from behind and praying at off times as they continue along the way. And they are laboriously trying to cross the stream with this big wagon. It is a handcart, so it's not terribly big, but they are clearly they're not literally in over their heads, but they have reached a difficult point. It's late in the day. They look bedraggled. They look tired, and they are laboring to get this thing across. And you hear the guy in the front. I'm sorry, the guy in the back, who is doing the most exhorting. He's saying, "Come, Terrapin, come, Krobin, put your backs to it, lads. We get across this, and we'll make a camp on the other side. We don't want to do this first thing in the morning. Let's just get it done now, and we just there's rest and respite on the other side." They have not noticed you. Marcus, do you have anything to say?
Oh, by Peony's graces, we'll get this crossed.
Krobin, just keep your back into it. Your labors will be rewarded in time. As they always are. Yeah, that's what you see. They are looking well out of their league here. And they have not noticed you. The waters are rushing past. It looks. This is the crossing point. It is slightly more shallow here, a little bit wider. But it is not a it is not an easy trek across, especially for these lads. This is it's a good almost 100 feet across the river at this point.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that we should help them before they do get in over their heads. Okay. There's something in the cart, and it's heavily covered,
There appears to be something. Yeah, there's a big box inside the cart.
Oh, okay. I thought that was the bottom, but that is a box.
There's,
Okay.
there's a big box in there. Yeah. They have not seen you. They have not seen you yet. I mean, they have water pooling around. It's about knee to thigh deep right now as they're pushing this thing along the mucky, at times rocky bottom, slowly making way. Yeah,
Is the current fast enough that we might be swept away, or anybody might be swept up? Or really, not so much.
It's a bit. The river is a bit rain swollen. I'll be honest about it. It is a little bit rain swollen at this point.
Yeah.
It's been raining all day, and it's a bit of a haul. You would normally, if you were to cross it, you'd probably travel about 2 more hours today. So it's kind of late in the afternoon. You can maybe try to dissuade them from crossing. You can help them cross. It's up to you. They have not seen you yet, though.
Zyrsin.
Well, I'd like to help, but short of getting out and pushing, I don't know what else we can do.
Sometimes that may be it. Well, are they big guys? Are they nice, strong farm workers? I'm pretty small and light here. I think
They are
swimming more than carrying this thing. If I try to help.
make a lore religion check. I mean, you're pretty sure what they are. They look like Peonian, probably mendicant priests of some sort.
Yeah, I guess it's. You're right. So it's just a Siam roll instead of. No.
Or lore religion if you have that.
No, I really don't. Just okay. They have some sort of. So they said Peonian. They're Peonian.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, I am gonna probably rush ahead, Zyrsin. We'll introduce ourselves. You can offer to help. I'm gonna get to the other side as soon as I can and try to actually start a fire, provide some moral support and reward once they get across. For all of us, really.
Okay. All right. Make a. No, that's right. That's right. All right.
Well, before I get all my stuff wet, I mean, I guess I'm looking for if there's anything useful on this side of the river that could be useful in starting a fire. I might carry a torch across to seed the fire, make it less.
And I think you have spells that produce flame. Do you have that spell? There's a tailed or a Uthram Valyri spell that just makes a flame. It's like the big finger spell.
I don't think I do have it, actually.
Yeah, there is that one that's out there. But they do notice you now, as you guys have been kind of debating. Oh, and he startles this guy right here. Startles and the one who and turns around. Well, we don't have anything. It's just myself. I am Brother Gabriel. His brother Terrapin points to this one right here. And this one over here is Brother Corbin. I'm sorry that Brother Vunrad cannot stand to greet you. And he pats at the box, but he is currently tending his rose gardens in the meadows of the lawn. But yes, we've nothing but basically just a few things. Nothing that we can give to you. We have nothing. They seem a little bit alarmed.
We're fair met. We are fellow travelers, just interested in crossing the stream as well. We only came upon you because you seem to be stuck, and we're perhaps just moving a little faster than you three burdened with your brother's former self.
Well, yes, we making not the best pace. I was told this journey would go more quickly, but the rains certainly have not helped matters. Do you think this crossing is safe? He says, kind of looking at you, hoping you'd have a good answer for him.
It's done often by the caravans, but later in the year when the river is not rain swollen and cresting, it might be wise to think about trying later if you're not urgently trying to get somewhere.
Krobin, do you have anything
to think about?
You could jump in, Marcus, if you want.
Well, what do I think about it cresting? Is it going to go down, tomorrow, or do I think it'll continue to swell?
That is a combination of weather lore and survival. So those are fair questions, and I can give you fair answers with good rolls.
Okay, you want me to roll both or a combination?
Roll to predict the weather and then predict the conditions. So first predict the weather and then.
Yeah.
Okay. So on the 19th.
Hey.
So tomorrow is the 20th. It's going to rain through the day tomorrow, you think? But probably by tomorrow evening will clear.
So it's not safe now, and it's not getting any safer anytime soon.
Would you two lads have any rope or anything else that would help us get this over to the other side?
Actually, I might have rope.
So your suggestion on a critical success on survival would be if it was going to be, so a river is usually less. Well, if it's raining, it's going to be rain swollen. You would probably suggest looking at the weather, not even tomorrow morning, but the next morning trying to cross. But they could push their luck and try to get across it. It's just not going to be super safe to do. The casket is not tied down, which might be a good start.
Or separate the two and do them independently, because the wheels I don't think are helping you. The wheels are not doing you any favors in the water. The cart will float if it's not weighted down. Perhaps. Do you
give me your assessment when to cross, or?
Yeah, I do. I will tell them I think it would be safest to wait 2 nights for crossing. But we plan to cross currently. We just don't have a wagon and casket to deal with.
Krobin looks. He doesn't look happy about the whole situation. The older guy in the back says, "Well, we promised to have dear brother Vunrad back at his home in time for the first of summer, which may seem like a ways out, but at the pace we've been going, I'm not sure if that is going to happen."
I'm sure that Peony has sent these 2 strapping helpers here to aid us.
Yes, you're right, Brother Krobin. It is said that when the need is most here, then the goddess, the mother, shall provide, and she has indeed. He looks at you very hopefully, as if you were about to provide.
I'm gonna dig out my my Sindar rope that the Uthram Roliri often have, which is a surprisingly small, tiny, thin rope.
Sure.
It's really meant for snares and catching rabbits and stuff, but it's surprisingly strong, so it's not gonna break. And we can. I mean, my advice is to move them in pairs, or in move your load in pieces.
All right.
But we can definitely tie this to it, and
So
maybe
the
Zyrsin
safe
can help pull.
the safe way to cross I'll give you a bit of mountain lore. The safest way to cross a swollen stream is for you to kind of make a it's not quite enough of you, or I'd have to free it up. Is you kind of make a circle, and you weave each other's arms around your shoulders so that you're all facing inward, and you kind of move across as a unit that way. Like, so you make a circle of yourselves.
Oh, yeah.
That is one way that you cross a swollen stream. You also wait until, in the mountains, you wait until sunrise, because that's when the snow melt is at the least. But that's not the situation here. So that's the safest way to cross the stream, and you would know that. In a group that you'd probably want to do that, but they got to deal with this thing though. So I'll throw that out as a part of your survival check. Is that without that being there, that's what you suggest doing?
Yeah. Okay. Well, and do we? I mean, could we tie the casket and the cart aren't really float until they're mostly submerged.
Right.
We couldn't tie them to us and potentially drag everybody away. Circled up. So what if we circle up around, the objects? Because I think actually, if everybody took a turn in a hand in carrying the casket alone, right, we could kind of all brace off of that. If somebody slips, they can grab on while everybody else is. All carried at once.
Can I interject in this a little bit?
Are you GMing or are you Crobiting?
I'm Crobiting.
Go ahead, Crobin. Yes, Crobin.
I apologize. We have not brought the material and tools that we would need really to improvise on things. But I think that if we had two long poles, we could carry the casket and then the wagon through the water one at a time. But I have no way we have no way of clearing trees or making such poles.
I've got a hatchet. I can chop you some poles.
All right. Well, I don't want to belabor your efforts. So you do intend to try to do this today, though, and not encourage them to stay another night or two.
Yes, if they've made up their mind to cross now, will help.
Okay.
I can swim. I'm only worried about getting wet.
Okay. Let us then make some interesting uses of skills. So let's go ahead and make a strength times 5, and I'm gonna have you make that Zyrsin, because you're gonna be kind of following instructions from Hafyn as he sort of directs you through this in the safest fashion. So make me a strength times 5 check, which for you, you're pretty strong. That's not gonna be that hard to miss. To make, excuse me.
So I just roll a D100 and there's no button to.
There is not, no, but just your strength is 14. So
well, you can go over to the top left and there's a little 20-sided die. You can just click on the D100.
Well, yeah, I can roll D100, no problem. I didn't know if there was a built-in mechanic to do the
Yeah, there is. So your target was 70. So
yeah.
So you kind of really get in there, and your time that you spent at your chantry, which was far more physical than most chantries. The Jamorvi chantries are laborious. You forge metal. You make weapons. Your strength is one of the traits that the Jamorvi look for. So you're a pretty tough guy for a mage. Between your efforts of pushing, and go ahead and make me a survival roll, please. I'm sorry, not survival. Yeah, woodland survival, as far as crossing and organizing it properly happen.
Okay, I can do that. Would you prefer pathfinding? That's more of actually.
Pathfinding is it's your special thing for moving through wilderness and just picking the right path to move at speed. Yeah. So it's gonna be just more woodland survival. All right, that's fine. I wasn't looking for any great huge success. It is more time consuming than you expected, and you guys get across finally on the other side. First the casket goes, and then that goes. Whoops, they got separated somehow. Why are they grouped like that? No, I'm not gonna worry about it. I can ungroup them. But you were fatigued, or I'll give you a condition roll to avoid a fatigue penalty. So go ahead and make a condition roll to avoid fatigue. It's good use of that. Zyrsin, you are pooped. I'm going to say that you lose a fatigue point. You come across the other side and you are very tired. Hafyn, you're a little cold and damp, but you're still feeling pretty good. You would probably be able to travel for another hour or two, but there's an old campsite here on the other side. It looks like many people just stop here after crossing and call it a day.
Yeah, that's fine. We're making good enough time that we can stop, and I'll help them start a fire. I'll get it going as soon as possible.
Okay. They seem very glad that you're staying with them for the night.
Oh, bless you, lads. Bless you.
Maybe not a quick fire, but
I'll give each of you a piety point in CM for assisting these poor fellows get through the woodlands. Why is that on the bottom? Oh. All right, so add yourself a piety point for being such good fellows as you are. And so that night, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was curious about this. The poor brother. I mean, where this group is coming from, where they're going to, starting in Trowbridge. There's not a lot of Peonians there, so I assume they're
no.
elsewhere.
Molarin, we came from just a little east of Coronan, Thardic Republic, and this dear Vunrad here, he comes all the way from the northern parts of Sherifir, Meldarin, I should say. He comes from Laket, right on the western frontier, near the Anadel Highlands. We are about now halfway done with our journey at this point, although it should be mostly easy going, at least through most of Kaldor. But we still need to go down to Chibissa, which I'm told is a dangerous trek. We're from the Republic, so we're not as familiar with these lands. And we did not think it would be easy, did we, Krobin? We knew that these labors would be hard, but we will be rewarded for our labors when we reach the meadows of Valon. And he looks, kind of smiles to himself when he thinks about the meadows of Valon that eventually will be there for him. Krobin looks less pleased with that idea.
Unless you're in a hurry for those meadows of Alon, you might want to go back with a caravan on schedule and not come out here all on your own. There are a number of dangers worse than a river.
Oh. Well, this may sound strange, but I sensed our plight was near crossing the river, and I in fact directly beseeched the goddess herself for assistance. And as I turned, I saw you, and you were there, for the goddess will provide. Can we... it is difficult for me to believe that your appearance was not one of mere chance, but was providence, and a blessing that arrived directly from herself.
Perhaps it was.
Who can say, really? Who can say? And with that, they very quickly curl by the fire and fall asleep.
They're tired. Okay.
If you want to talk more with them, you can. I'm
good. I've got them figured out. I mean, the only question is if the guy in the box is, was somebody important, serving peony, from an important family or something. But that's I don't even if I figured out who he was and if that was true, I don't know what that would mean. So probably not functional.
All right, you guys make a camp here. It is. The rain is still persisting. They curl up under their cloaks and they have their hoods and mantles up, and are just kind of curled up near the fire that you managed to get started. And just one of these cases where just exhaustion is overcoming discomfort. They prepare a mean meal of millet, and they produce some lentils and boil that up. They have a fair amount of provisions on them. I mean, you think that they'll make it to civilization without starving, from what you've seen.
Yeah.
But it might be a close call.
I'll get up early and do some hunting and foraging for everybody. They all need more sleep.
Okay. So pre-dawn hours?
Wilderness. Yeah, some pre-dawn. Well, we're going to do a Sam ritual in the middle of the night. But then some pre-dawn hunting rolls.
Okay. All right. I believe...
No luck this time.
I believe that there are some... I thought that Marcus has set up some hunting checks in the form of macros.
There's a particular table for it. I'm not exactly sure where.
He has stepped away briefly, so I don't know where that's at.
Go ahead.
The collection tab, it looks like he has a hunting table.
Yes, there's a hunting table there.
Okay. Sure. Do you want to tell us how that works?
Basically,
there it is.
You go down to the rollable table, and he's going to make a check on his hunting, and if he succeeds, we're going to roll on that table and see what he has tracked.
So, a tracking check, right?
Correct.
Yeah, there are some expanded rules on hunting, which I can dig up at some other time, but...
Maybe not.
Yeah, it is, all the critters seem to be lying low this morning.
Yeah, all the rain.
And that's the right time to look, because deer and similar animals are around sunrise, sunset. That's their time of day. But they are staying just as sheltered as you guys are.
Marginal fail isn't necessarily a...
Tell me what it means, Mark.
It means
yeah.
Animal makes an awareness roll,
Right,
and it flees if detected. So
Alright.
he's making a lot of noise.
Make me a...
We'll take a roll on the chart.
to see what the animal was.
Yeah.
All right.
I haven't found the chart yet. I'm sorry.
It's a
okay.
it's a fox or a weasel.
Fox.
Really? Ew. The only animal you see is a fox or a weasel. I'm not sure if you want to name that in this game. All right, we'll say it's a fox. So it's a decent sized fox. Normally not game. Can be, but people usually don't eat dogs, but some do.
Yeah.
So a fox has an awareness
We'll give it a
roll of 68.
Do you want me to do stealth, or is it? I'm making.
No, he's going to straight up make a roll on awareness, 68, and he hears you and takes off.
The only thing you see is a fox, and he bolts. And you come back empty-handed as they're just beginning to stir.
Right.
Probably have the fire going at least, so that's nice.
Yeah, I'll stock it up, and anyway, nobody needs to know.
All right, it's your secret. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move things forward a little bit. You travel for another. You guys are around right here. Did I move players to that map? I did. Okay. You know right now, after crossing the Galeem, that you're likely to reach the first manor at the end of the day. That is on the actually it'll be 2 days out. Sorry.
But we're
On
into
this
Cath's
day,
territory, which is a lot less dangerous than.
less dangerous. Correct. It's less dangerous as long as you stay on the trail. The Cath aren't going to bother you. If you hunt there for game, they get a little angry. That's the main danger to avoid with the Cath. So today is the 20th. It rains about half the day and is then cool to cold but clear after the rain passes. So around noontime, the rain stops and it quickly clears and is cold behind it. You travel about yay far today, and the next day, you're pretty sure that you'll reach a village known as Cathane by the end of the day. And you make camp that night. Again, relatively calm. Nothing bothers you. The weather is cold and clear, but better than wet and cool and cold. You get your stuff dried out by the fire, spend a relatively comfortable night. And by the late afternoon of the 21st, you are traveling at the end of the day, and you start to see some signs of some civilization up ahead. There's areas that are more clear-cut, and the path is definitely much wider. You're just sensing that you're getting closer to where people travel more and more frequently. And ahead of you, you see a decent-sized stream, and there is a bridge crossing it, and there's definitely a little village in the area. Up ahead, you see a decent-sized manor house with a wall around it. You guys can see, right? If you can't,
Yes.
let me know.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
we can see it.
There's a mill off to the right over here. Appears to be a bit of an inn or a tavern, large central square, caravan square. It's a decent-sized village. But what mainly attracts your attention is that there's a bit of a ruckus in the pasture to your left that comes to your attention as you're crossing the bridge. As you're crossing, the bridge is kind of cresting over the top, and you see a group of people from the village, and what looks like either a squire or a man-at-arms of some sort, dressed in armor. And the two people from the village look like either herdsmen or peasant farmers. They're dressed. They have farm tools that they have raised up in an angry fashion, and you see two. You know the Cath when you see them. You see two Cath warriors there, and they are in a heated argument. These two groups, and they are apparently in an argument where neither can understand each other's language, which is going nowhere fast. The Cath are shaking their spears and shouting at the people from the village, and the people from the village are waving their swords around or their farm tools and shouting at the Cath in languages that neither of them has any comprehension of, and between them is a dog.
Okay. Well, I'll
It looks like they're very close to coming to blows.
Yeah, I'll move that way, cross the bridge, and yell out, "Hello, good day" in Harnick Jarnies, Old Jarnies, and Orbalese.
You said you spent some time in the Cath. I mean, do you speak Cath? We didn't put that down if you did.
No, I don't. Maybe broken, a couple words here and there. Maybe hello, goodbye. Certainly not enough to resolve an argument. I do also speak Telda.
That's Old Jarnies. Yeah,
That's Old Jarnies.
Yeah, it's old Jarn stuff. The Cath are just culturally just different from where you come from.
Yeah. Well, so are the Chelney. They're more similar to each other than I am.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The Tolwyn, the Chelney, the Cath, those are all Fark people. You're of Jarn extraction, as are the Telda.
Zyrsin, neither of these guys are Jarn descended. So, unless they don't speak Harnick, yeah, I'm not going to be any help here. Unless somebody speaks Orbalese.
I speak Orbalese.
You guys could talk in Orbalese, which is a trade language in Orbal. It's a pidgin version of Harnic, Jaran, and Ivinian.
Yeah, Ivinian. And maybe the Chalni have a smattering of Orbalese because of random lore setting story stuff. But probably not.
All right.
I don't know how they. Zyrsin, it's very odd that they can't understand each other.
Oh, the people from the village and the calf?
Well, I guess not that odd.
Are you guys going that direction, or what are you guys doing?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't want them to fight, and I don't know. At least we can be killing each other if it ends up being stealing somebody's dog. Yeah, I'm heading over, yelling, hello in every language I know.
All right.
In case something.
The man at arms here, he barely looks over his shoulder because he doesn't want to take his eyes off of who he perceives as his enemy. There's a young man right here holding a pitchfork, and there's an older guy who looks like he might be the younger man's father, who is holding a shepherd's staff. And as you get closer, you hear that the people from the village, the locals, or at least the non-native locals, they're yelling about that you stole my dog, and the Cath are yelling probably the same thing back. Were you to guess, but you're getting that from just like hand motions and how they're emphatically saying it. So they're saying, "You stole my dog," pointing at the dog, and then they're waving their hands back and forth, saying, "No, you." Blah blah blah, 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 like that. They're going back and forth, essentially saying the same thing, is what you could determine. And it hasn't reached the point of violence yet, but neither side seems to be backing down.
I'm going to try something. I will try to approach peacefully, obviously. Try to see what's going on. I don't speak the language of the other group.
But
I do have a spell that might work. Obviously, I can't do this loudly and with great movement.
From a distance away, you might be able to. I mean,
it's a touch type of situation.
Okay.
So I will attempt to, come up to the group and silently and with little movement cast
Tongue of Pavara?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah, Tongue of Pavara, and touch one of the other guys on the shoulder or something, just like hey, what's going on? Calm down. But obviously, I'm at a -15, so this may not go very well.
I gotcha. Your fatigue point did go away after you spent the night. I mean, that was days ago, so you're fine.
Yeah, I picked that up. So I have a pretty good shot at this, but we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Hey,
Hey.
Marginal success.
All right, you approach. So you have to touch the person to engage in their language. Is that correct?
Correct. Whichever one would be seeing
All right,
the leaderish of the group, because it enables the caster to communicate with a target person in the absence of a common language. Basic enchantments establishes a special relationship between the caster and their target and cannot be expanded to include others. This is not true telepathy and is not subject to sonic interference. The depth of understanding depends on the success achieved. In this case, a marginal success allows communication roughly at the level of 8-year-olds. But that's probably better than what's going on.
You mean my 9-year-old or the average 9-year-old? Anyway.
Well, true. Very true.
My daughter is beating me at Words with Friends, okay?
Regardless of success, this enchantment will not make an inarticulate person suddenly articulate, nor does it guarantee an ignorant person will understand what they are hearing or saying.
Gotcha. Okay. So you're doing. I'm just trying to see what. You got to first kind of okay. You're just coming at him with kind of like, hey, calm down. They're probably looking for somebody to de-escalate the situation. So I will will let you approach without them being, because they sense that you were trying to de-escalate, and you touch them and you cast the spell. Good job with that, by the way. You get make sure you record that for a. I'll let you get a stressful situation improvement roll for that one, by the way, at the end of the session. All right, so yes, you get a. He turns to you, and actually, you can open the conversation. You touch him. You know you cast it successfully, and he turns to you. He looks very frustrated at the situation. He looks very, very frustrated.
At this point, just be an introduction. I am Zyrsin. I'm not of these people, but I see there's a dispute. What's going on?
He looks surprised that he understands you. Why you are not speaking my language, but we understand each other.
It's okay. There's nothing wrong. I just have a talent.
Well, he's a younger man, and his friend there is also of similar age. I am Gorkma, as Magd. The people, the village, the civilized, whatever word they would use, the house dwellers took Daka, his dog. He was the dog. We came near the fields, and the dog. We weren't paying attention. The dog ran and followed the boy home, and we came back to get the dog, and then we found the dog, and we are now bringing it back home. The dog's name is Taka. I am Gorkma, as Madga. And when he says Taka, the dog, and the dog looks like about a year old, like it is not fully trained, but like it's still like a very old puppy. But when he says Taka, the dog like his little ears light up, and he turns and looks at the person who says Taka.
Okay,
So,
and I'll turn toward the villagers and say, it seems that he believes this is his dog and it followed a child home or something?
well,
What's going on?
Yeah, the child's probably about a 13, 14-year-old. And it's this young man right there. Yes, but I think it's the Lord's dog. I was here tending sheep, and the dog walked up to me, and I brought it home. And I brought it. Actually, I brought it to another person in the village to train the dog, and it is. And then these savages came by earlier today, and they took the dog back. Not back. They took the dog. Period. They stole my dog. I've had it now for 2 weeks.
Well, it seems it was their dog and it got away from them, and they're just coming to reclaim it.
Well,
they say its name is Taka, and I look to the dog and kind of like tap my knee and say Taka.
And the dog comes scurrying up to you. No, the dog's name is not Taka. The dog's name is Grolben. I named him just the other day. Grolben. I thought that was a good name. Here, I'll show you. Grolben. Here, boy. The dog is like got his paws up on your thighs and is going like that.
Yeah. I see you're in a heated argument over this. I think it's understandable that you took this dog in, and and the boy is probably attached to it, I assume. But I don't think it's yours. I think it's theirs. Wouldn't you want your dog back, even if it's been only a couple weeks?
All right, I'll give you a good rhetoric roll. I'll give you a good solid plus 20 on it. I might just give you. Well, we'll see how you roll, and then we'll just go from there. All right, you would have made it even without that, wouldn't you have?
Barely, but would have.
The man at arms has kind of had enough of this. Like, all right, listen, lad. Clearly, the dog's name is Taka. Clearly, from what you said, the dog came running out of the woods or from someplace near there. we don't need any more trouble with the locals than we've had already. Just let him have the dog. I'll talk with the Lord and see if he can give you one of the new litter coming out. All right, lad? Kind of ruffles him on the head. The kid doesn't like that because he's too old for that. Fine. So Taka returns back to the calf, and they look at you with a great deal of thanks in their eyes and say, thank you, mysterious man who somehow speaks our language. And they walk back into the woods with Taka the dog. And you're in Cathane. All right. Greetings. Welcome to Cathane. Just passing through?
Yes, we're just passing through.
Well, if you wish to stay the night, which I encourage, the last ale inn. No, it's the first ale inn, depending which direction you're coming from. I guess it's the first ale inn in your case. It's over there by the common square. I appreciate you helping dispel that. Glad it went that way.
Oh, not a problem. Just want to ease a dispute. No reason to come to blows over something so minute.
Yeah, I mean, we know that we're at the edge of calf country, but so far it's been all right. There's a village here some years back that was destroyed by the calf. They say they were, but we started this village several generations ago, a little bit further to the east, and so far so good. We know it's their country too, and we just try to stay out of each other's ways, if you understand what I'm saying.
That's
boys will be boys.
I think they do their country.
Well, let's go on back. I'll buy you both an ale.
Greatly appreciated. Thank you.
You guys go back to the Central Inn. And do you guys wish to stay here for the night? It'll be about a silver each for a room.
Yeah, I definitely want to stay here. We've been on the road for a little while.
This inn does not have a relationship with Uther Maliri. I'll just put it that way. They're not like they are at Trowbridge.
We are at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll actually, to square the 4 and 2 at the 6 pence crossing, I'll buy Zyrsin a room. We'll do a. Well, or I'll buy him his food. I'll buy him. I'll pay for him.
Very nice of you. The inn is relatively. Yeah, it's not the time of year where it's very busy. This place gets its most business during the caravan season as people launch off to the west or come in from the east. Or other way around. Sorry. Yes, I had it right the first time. Launch off to the west and then come back from the west to the east. So it's a little low key. They're glad for your business, and that's pretty much it. You'll be in Tashel tomorrow, and in Gadiran in a day or two, and we'll probably introduce our other players in the next session. So, do you guys wish to talk about anything in character before we break off for the day?
Well, Zyrsin, there's one thing just now. I'm glad you handled that. That's well, and I see that your powers are quite useful in a great number of situations. But you might, for tribe folk who are often on the lookout for symbols, nature, and like that, after helping them like that, you might draw attention to the oak leaves that us Uthrum-Roliri often wear, so that they, recognize potentially who helped them, or at least tell the story of good-natured, helpful oak folk. That might help us at a later time passing Cath territory.
Good point. I will keep that in mind in future encounters.
All right. If you want to make a special stress use skill check on your Tonga Pavara spell, and I'll give you another one for your Bomb of Gasan as well. See if you improve those through use today. Good use of that spell, by the way. Well done.
I pushed the wrong button. I'm resetting. One moment. Okay, character sheet. And this is when I want to fail.
Yeah, you want to fail. To roll high. Look at that. So
Very
your
good.
Tongue of Vara goes up a point. I'll give you one for Bomb Kasan too. All right,
Very
that
good.
goes up a point too. All right. Managed to navigate some encounters without combat. Good stuff today. And all right, I think we'll call it here. You're on the edge of the civilization. You'll go through the great city of Tashal. I've heard it pronounced different ways. Tomorrow, and be in the heart of Kaldor on your way to Caer Gardirin to meet with the Baron for some birthday party that Hafyn has been invited to. So until next time, fellow adventurers, this was A Tale of Two Daughters in the Harnmaster Harn setting. Have a good day.